The fluorescent hospital lights buzzed overhead as I held my mother's frail hand in the ICU. Her heart surgery had complications, and the doctors weren't sure she'd make it through the night. My phone vibrated with a text from my mother-in-law, Patricia Blackwood. "I've changed your gate code. Only real family members get access now. Don't bother coming back until you learn to prioritize correctly." I stared at the message in disbelief. My own mother was fighting for her life, and Patricia had chosen this moment to lock me out of my own home? My husband Marcus called immediately after. "Babe, I'm so sorry. I tried to stop her, but she's completely lost it. She says you abandoned the family dinner for attention-seeking drama." "My mother is dying, Marcus," I said quietly, not wanting to disturb other patients. I know. I'm coming to the hospital now. Just don't do anything rash, okay?" But I was already dialing 911. 911, what's your emergency?" "I've been locked out of my own home by someone who doesn't live there," I said calmly. "I need assistance regaining entry to my property at 47 Rosewood Drive." 20 minutes later, I met 2 police officers at my house. Patricia's Mercedes was in the driveway, along with her sister Helen's BMW. They'd apparently made themselves comfortable. Officer Chen stepped out first, followed by Officer Rodriguez. I saw Chen's eyes widen slightly in recognition, but he maintained his professional demeanor. "Ma'am, can you explain the situation?" Before I could answer, Patricia burst out the front door in her designer heels and pearl necklace. "Officers, thank goodness you're here. This woman is trying to break into my house." "Your house?" I asked mildly. "Yes, my house. My son lives here, which makes it family property. I've had to change the codes because this person has been neglecting her duties." Officer Rodriguez pulled out his notepad. "Ma'am, whose name is on the deed?" Patricia waved dismissively. "Details don't matter. I'm Marcus Blackwood's mother. This is a family matter." "Actually," I said, pulling out my phone, "I have the deed right here. Digital copies are wonderful, aren't they?" I showed the officers the document. The house was in my name only, purchased 2 years before I even met Marcus. That's irrelevant," Patricia sputtered. "She abandoned my son to go gallivanting at the hospital. Her mother is having emergency surgery," Officer Chen said flatly. "Hardly gallivanting." Patricia's sister Helen joined her on the porch. "You don't understand. We're the Blackwoods. We don't get treated like common criminals." Officer Chen turned to me with barely suppressed amusement. "Ma'am, would you like to press charges for breaking and entering?" "Wait," Patricia paled. "You can't arrest me. Do you know who I am?" "I know exactly who you are," Chen replied. "The question is, do you know who she is?" Patricia looked at me dismissively. "She's nobody. Just some girl who trapped my son." Rodriguez started laughing. He actually had to turn away to compose himself. Chen cleared his throat. "Ma'am, this lady is the mayor's daughter. Judge Catherine Wu's goddaughter. And if I'm not mistaken, the lead prosecutor's personal friend from law school." I saw the exact moment the blood drained from Patricia's face. "You're Alexandra Wu Chen," she whispered. "Just Alexandra Chen professionally," I corrected. "I don't typically use my mother's maiden name hyphenated. It seems pretentious. Let me back up and explain how we got here. I'm Alexandra Chen, 34, a civil rights attorney. Yes, my mother is Mayor Elizabeth Wu Chen, the first Asian American woman to hold the office in our city. But I've spent my entire adult life building my own career, deliberately keeping a low profile about my family connections. I met Marcus Blackwood at a charity gala 2 years ago. He was charming, kind, and refreshingly unimpressed by my family name, mostly because he didn't make the connection. Chen is common enough, and I liked that he fell for me, not my pedigree. Patricia Blackwood, however, was a different story. From day one, she treated me like gold-digging trash. In her mind, her precious son, a mid-level marketing manager, was the catch of the century, and I was lucky to have him. "She's not even pretty," I once overheard her tell Helen. Marcus could have had the Pemberton girl. Old money, proper breeding. I'd bitten my tongue for Marcus's sake. He loved his mother despite her flaws, and I loved him. So I endured the snide comments about my cheap clothes, usually understated designer pieces, my little job, I'd just won a major class action suit, and my lack of family connections. The irony wasn't lost on me. The breaking point came when my mother got sick. She'd hidden her heart condition for months, not wanting to worry anyone during her re-election campaign. When she collapsed during a city council meeting, it made headlines. Patricia had scheduled one of her mandatory family dinners for the same night Mom's surgery was scheduled. When I told her I couldn't attend, she'd exploded. This is exactly what I mean, she'd ranted to Marcus. No respect for family. My dinners are sacred. Now, standing in my own driveway watching Patricia process the fact that the nobody she'd tormented was actually somebody, I felt a strange mix of satisfaction and exhaustion. I didn't know, Patricia stammered. Because you never asked, I said simply. You decided who I was the moment you met me. Helen was frantically Googling on her phone. Her face went white. Oh my God, Patty. She argued the Chun versus State case. The landmark housing discrimination suit. She's kind of a big deal. The mayor's daughter, Patricia repeated faintly. But you live so modestly. I laughed. This 5-bedroom house in the hills is modest? You drive a Honda, she accused, as if this was proof of deception. I like Hondas. They're reliable. Officer Chin interrupted. Ma'am, do you want to proceed with charges? Marcus's car screeched into the driveway before I could answer. He jumped out, looking between his mother and me with panic. Lexi, please. She didn't mean. She locked me out of my own home while my mother is dying, I said quietly. She's been telling everyone I'm not good enough for you for 2 years. And now she's committed a crime. It was a misunderstanding. Patricia cried. I thought I was protecting my son's interests. From his wife, Rodriguez asked. Interesting protective strategy. Marcus turned to his mother. You changed the locks on Lexi's house? Gate code, I corrected. Though I'm sure locks were next. I pay half the bills. Marcus protested to the officers. Doesn't that give my mother any rights? Chin looked at him with pity. Sir, paying bills doesn't transfer property ownership. Your name isn't on the deed. Your mother has zero legal right to be here if the owner wants her removed. This is ridiculous. Patricia shrieked. I'm not some common criminal. My husband is Richard Blackwood of Blackwood Investments. The same Blackwood Investments currently under SEC investigation? I asked mildly. Patricia's mouth snapped shut. Oh yes, I knew about that too. One advantage of keeping a low profile. People talk freely around you, not realizing you have connections everywhere. Here's what's going to happen, I said, suddenly exhausted. Patricia, you're going to give me back my gate code. You're going to leave my property. And you're going to think very carefully about how you treat people in the future. Or, Helen challenged, apparently not learning from her sister's mistake. Or I press charges. Your sister gets arrested for breaking and entering. The Blackwood name gets dragged through the mud right when Richard needs to appear stable for the SEC. And I stop being the quiet, accommodating daughter-in-law. I turned to Marcus. I love you, but your mother has made the past 2 years hell, and you've let her. My mother might die tonight, and instead of being with her, I'm here dealing with this. Lexi, he started. Figure out your priorities, I said. I'll be at the hospital. Officer Chin handed me his card. If you change your mind about pressing charges, you have 48 hours. And ma'am, your mother is in all our prayers. She's a good mayor. As I drove back to the hospital, my phone exploded with texts. Apparently, Helen had panic posted on social media about the misunderstanding, accidentally revealing to their entire social circle that Patricia had been tormenting the mayor's daughter. My godmother, Judge Catherine Wu, called. Do I need to recuse myself from any future cases, or are you handling this? Handling it, Auntie Cat. Good. Though I'm disappointed. I would have enjoyed seeing Patricia Blackwood in my courtroom. Give your mother my love. By the time I reached the hospital, the Blackwood family implosion was in full swing. Marcus texted that Patricia was being bombarded with calls from her society friends, all suddenly remembering times they'd heard her badmouth me. The Pemberton girl called to say she dodged a bullet, not marrying into our family, he wrote. Mom is having a meltdown. Good, I thought, then felt guilty. But only a little. My mother made it through surgery. When she woke up, her first words were, Did you really sick the cops on Patricia Blackwood? How did you? Chen told his mother, who told her bridge club, who told me. She smiled weakly. I'm proud of you for standing up for yourself. Though your timing could use work. She started it, I said, feeling like a child. She certainly did. Richard Blackwood called to apologize. Apparently, they're worried you'll use your connections to make their SEC troubles worse. I wouldn't. I know, sweetheart. You've never traded on the family name. Which is why Patricia's treatment of you is so ironic. Marcus arrived at the hospital with flowers and 1,000 apologies. I've told her she's not welcome in our home again until she genuinely apologizes. Not for fear of consequences, but because she understands what she did wrong. Our home. I raised an eyebrow. Your home, he corrected quickly, where you generously let me live, which my mother somehow forgot. We worked through it slowly. Marcus started therapy to deal with his mother's lifetime of manipulation. Patricia, faced with social exile and potential criminal charges, agreed to attend family counseling. The real surprise came from Helen. She showed up at my office a week later with a genuine apology. I enabled her, she said simply. Patty's always been difficult. But we're family, so I supported her. I never thought about who was getting hurt. 6 months later, at my mother's recovery celebration, Patricia approached me cautiously. She'd lost her imperious air, looking smaller somehow. I owe you an apology, she began. A real one. I judged you based on my own insecurities and prejudices. I was so focused on what I thought Marcus deserved that I couldn't see what he actually had. A brilliant, kind, patient partner who loved him despite his dragon of a mother. It was a start. The gate code incident became family legend, told at gatherings with increasing embellishment. Officer Chun, who I learned had gone to high school with my cousin, loved sharing the story of Patricia's face when she learned who I was. You should have seen it, he'd laugh. Like watching someone realize they'd been insulting Wonder Woman while she was in civilian clothes. My mother fully recovered and won re-election by a landslide. In her victory speech, she thanked her family for their support, particularly my daughter, who shows every day that true class isn't about money or connections, but how you treat others. Patricia was in the audience, applauding with what looked like genuine pride. We'd never be best friends, but we'd found a workable peace. She'd learned that respect couldn't be demanded based on her last name or bank account. It had to be earned through actions. The house became truly ours, Marcus's and mine, with both names on the deed after we renewed our vows. Patricia was invited, but had to request permission to visit like any other guest. I still can't believe you hid who you were, she said during one visit, watching me prep for a major court case. I never hid, I corrected. You just never looked. You saw what you expected to see, someone beneath your sun. The truth was always there. She nodded slowly. The worst part is realizing how many people I might have misjudged the same way. The best part, I said, is that it's never too late to start seeing clearly. The gate now stays open most days. But everyone who enters knows the story of the night Patricia Blackwood learned that the nobody she'd locked out was somebody after all. Not because of my family name, but because I'd stood up for myself and demanded the respect everyone deserves. Though I must admit, watching Officer Rodriguez try not to laugh while Patricia insisted she owned my house, that was pretty satisfying too.